Hello everybody all over the world. Hello and welcome to a HiPod. With me today is the one and only Uncle Dane.
Hi.
Hi. Hey.
Good to have you. Good to have me on there.
I'm the host, even though you're like the vastly more popular one.
Well.
Simsalabim, så ble mobilbetaling gratis for
Thanks for the sandwich.
Yeah, you're welcome. I also forgot to mute, so somebody heard a bit of a Norwegian ad there on the stream when it started. Anyway, it's a podcast. I always do a podcast where there's something to talk about and someone to talk with. And we have a few things on the agenda. Currently, Tip of the Hats is going, so we're not expected to keep this very long or anything like that. First of all, if you're new and you don't know who this is, why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself, Dane?
Hi. My name is Uncle Dane, and I make YouTube videos primarily about the engineer class and Team Fortress 2 for the PC.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, PC. Unlike the the Xbox version, which is
no,
vastly
I don't have
popular.
the Xbox version. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you play Xbox, sorry, this might not be for you.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, that's basically like what I do, except you keep it shorter and more concentrated and very much. It's easier to digest whatever the content you make, basically. So
exactly.
If you're just
shorter
interested in
to the point, yeah.
Yeah. If you're just interested in engineer and not of the stupid European humor, because I did listen to that sound clip, by the way. So yeah, you definitely check him out. He has some good stuff there. And we, I watched your Widowmaker video, and I was like, did he read my script? Because basically we're saying the same thing. So that's good. High five. Boosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. High five to the face. There we go.
I can't fire the Widowmaker or whatever this is, the Wrangler. I can't
well,
fire
you can use the wrench and just look terrible on the table, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
High five. Yeah, that's nice. Excellent. Yeah, good, great. That's what we're here. No, actually, we're here to talk about a few things. First off, we're going to talk a little about our opinions of random crits, because I think we're pretty different there. Why don't you go ahead and start with your relationship with random crits?
Well, I play a lot of pubs, and of course, pubs is pretty much the only place you'll find random crits in TF2, of course, but it's also the place where a lot of people will be playing TF2. So I'd say that everyone has had their experience with random crits before, and generally everyone has a negative feeling about random crits.
No. This is where we have different points of view, actually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I say generally because, of course, there are some people who are like, I think that it's fine, but I'd say that it's either a very vocal minority or, which I don't think is the case, or most people don't like random crits, whether you're being given them randomly or whether they're being used against you. Because I personally can say that when I get a random crit, I don't feel like I was like deserving of it. I feel like every time I get a random crit, I'm like, oh, I kind of feel bad because it could have been a fair matchup. Even if I came out on top because of the random crit, I'm like, well, in a fair matchup, I probably would have died, but because of random chance, I decided the game decided that I was going to win that little scruff. I mean. And it's even kind of like on the opposite end, like it kind of will punish you when you're doing well. Like for instance, last night, I kind of wish I would have brought this clip along so I could show you, but I was playing as soldier and I was on Powerhouse and I was in one of the top rooms like that get a lot of like commotion, like a lot of like chokiness goes down, and I was being healed by a medic. And their soldier was being healed by medic, like me, and like it was basically two pocketed soldiers just going at it, And we were like, I think I was on black box, he was on stock, so like I was getting a little extra heals, he was putting out a little extra damage, like blah blah blah, and like we were fighting, and like I felt like I was doing well. I was hitting most of my rockets. My medic was doing a really good job of like distributing the heals among me and like a couple of the people who were helping out, and then randomly. Just one soldier, and it was obvious that he didn't really mean to do this, he wasn't even a part of the fight, he just kind of walks in, shoots a random crit, and I die, and that was the end of it. And I felt like it could have been way more exciting of a fight, it could have lasted a good 45 seconds, just us trying to like aim our rockets behind them, trying to shoot the medics, trying to like really like do a really intelligent battle of wits and like damage, but instead random crits had to come in and just put an end to it. And it was no fun.
So basically, you had a medic and he had a medic, and you were shooting at each other, and he got a random crit and he won. Was that what happened?
Well, it wasn't even him. It was actually someone else who like wasn't even a part of the fight. Like somebody just kind of came in and was like, "Oh, hi, what's going on in here? Here's a random crit. Hope that didn't ruin anything." It was like, "Oh, okay, I guess that's the way it works."
Yeah, so basically, I totally understand your point and where people are coming from. It's like you want it to be where like the more, I guess, a skillful player or the people with better positioning and better, when you land better hits, basically come out on top. Is what I'm guessing. Like you don't want, like let's say you're fighting me and you do really well and you hit like 3 shots and I have like 1 HP and I get that 1 crit, and then you're dead and I win. Ha 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 ha. That's my reaction. Yeah. So yeah, I totally get where it comes from, but I think we also had a bit of a negotiation on Twitter. It's like I was like, random crits solve stalemates, and you're like, yeah, teamwork does that too, and I was like, shit, I have no counter, and I gotta go to work.
Well,
so like,
work, dang it.
Yeah, I will tell you, like, I was really on the fence about random crits when I first started TF2, like back in 2007 when it first came out. I had a bit of a different crit mechanic there, and it's like I have this one instance, this one memory that I have that still sticks with me to this day. And we were playing on Well, an awful map, because there wasn't really that many maps at that point. And I was, at our base, they had decided, like, from the old Team Fortress Classic strategy, like you build sentries up there. That was kind of like the thing you did. So everyone who played it before had like put up dispensers there and stuff like that. And I managed to get up there as a pyro, because I was just, trying out the game. And I remember I jumped over the pit, and then I didn't see anyone there, so I turned around and I saw like a heavy, a demo, a medic, a pyro, and an engineer, no sentry, all huddled around this one dispenser.
Okay.
And then I ran up and I hit mouse 1, and they all just died. And I had the most hysterical laugh I've ever had. That was like the best experience ever, because those fuckers have been screwing over our spawn for so long, and that was like the one time. So I think like that's
that was a positive experience with
that was a positive experience for me. For them, maybe not.
So exactly.
Also, like, I like to run the killing gloves of boxing, and a lot of my strategy is like, I hope to God I get random crits, I can kill this guy in 1 hit and then get the crits. That's like a strategy of mine. Also, when you run medic, I used to be a main medic before, believe it or not. And I used to run the Uber Saw all the time, and I was like, please, for the love of God, give me random crits. I only have to hit this guy once.
Yeah.
So I have like, I get random crits and I kill people. That's fun. And if I don't get, if I get random critted, there's like no rage or no reaction from me, because I'm like used to getting them myself. So often on streams, if I have like this epic fight with the guy, and then a random crit hits me, it's like no reaction. People are like, God, why didn't you rage? And it's like, well, I get my fair share of crits too.
Yeah.
So when I played sniper, when I still used Girardi, like if you used a sniper rifle and Girardi, and the Bushwhacker, you don't get random crits ever, because that's just how it works. So I would play on crit servers with the class that didn't get random crits, and I was totally fine. But I think like it's all about the like, imagine if you're new, like the experience I had, like you're getting dominated, and there's nothing you can do, and there's like this demo that never fucking ever dies. You know the guy? Like he has a fucking medic with crits, and like whenever you attack, he just has crits and he kills you and his entire team. And then your team becomes cowards and they run away, but you can't run away from a crits demo, so they just die anyway. If you're playing soldier and you get that one random crit and you kill him and his fucking medic, oh, he just great. Oh. Yeah. So
yes,
I think that's like what they're going for with random crits, like when the teams are awfully skewed and stuff like that. But I do think like because I play on German headquarters, and they vote if random crits should be on or off. So I always vote it on, because I like it. But often when a lot of competitive players come, they vote it off. It's like a completely different game, and if the teams are even, it's really fun, even with or without crits. So I'm like impartial. Like I like crits, and not having crits is also fine. But I think like for newer players, it could be fun to have that. Like if you just play the game, you get a random crit and you get like this awesome wow moment. Because if you're totally new and you never win ever, that can be very discouraging. So I think that's like they wanted the casual approach for that.
It is, yeah. It is basically in there for the people who are new. And I understand that, yeah, Team Fortress 2, I mean, you gotta look at it from a business perspective. They gotta try and appeal to the widest possible audience, and they don't want to alienate people who are new by any means. They made it free to play for a reason. So I'd say that there is a good reason why random crits are in there. It's just that it's hard for people to get used to it once they get past that stage. And I feel like a good solution maybe would just be, when they introduce matchmaking, just don't have a random crits be a part of it. I think that's pretty expected.
Absolutely.
I think that I'd be fine with random crits if they had a mode available to the public without random crits, that was aimed at more skilled players, so that they could kind of get away from that.
You can also have a vote. You can vote it off or on.
Yeah.
So if you play with a lot of noobs, it's going to not get voted off because they don't know how to vote. So
exactly.
There you go. Definitely in competitive it has no place, but I think it has a little fun factor, and So that's our opinions. I think we're pretty understandable, except that you don't like it, and I just like every chance I get to win. I'll take everything, every cheap victory I can ever get. There's been times where I been playing Soldier with the black box, and there's 1 second left on the clock, and there's a ton of guys left on the cart. I get one random crit, kill all of them, and I cap and I win. Feels good for me.
Yeah.
And then
it's just one of those things where I guess the main reason that I don't like is because I feel I understand personally why it's in the game, but a lot of people just kind of straight out hate it, and I think that a lot of people just don't like it in general, and it kind of makes them not want to play the game sometimes. A lot of people will be random crit for the 5th time in a row, and they'll just quit the game, and I think that that's a negative thing, and I think that in general, when something is that disliked in a game, there's no reason why they shouldn't remove it. But I know that there are reasons why they should keep it in as well, and so it's kind of like a catch-22, and I don't know. It's if they had anything in a game that the majority of the player base didn't like, then why wouldn't a game that has the ability to be updated not take it out?
Yeah, I think if you made matchmaking and you have 3 categories, you had just for fun, which is random crits. And then you have somewhat serious, that's pubs just without random crits, and then you have competitive on the end, which is super serious. So players can pick that. And I think players, as soon as they realize crits are bullshit, they will go to the non-crit servers and maybe alternate back and forth. I think that would be a good thing. Next thing I want to talk about actually wasn't on the list that I gave you, but I think we can talk about it just a little bit because it's related to what I just said, and that is the competitive game mode, which has been announced for 2 or 3 years now. They've been talking about this, and nothing has really happened. And I'm not sure about your thoughts, but I think it's absolutely not going to work at all. It's going to flop, and it's going to be terrible. I'm not sure if I told this to you, but it's not because of the system.
Oh, no.
The system could be great and stuff like that, but if you've ever played at lobby, you're going to get more people that are of the worst kind, and it's just going to be an awful, awful, awful experience because of the people, not because of the system.
Oh, I don't think that it's ever going to be anywhere close to competitive TF2 as it exists today.
Yeah.
No way. There's no way. There's no way. I think it is going to be a little more organized than a regular pub, of course, because, when it comes down to a pub, you're not talking to your team. You're not, you're not using, you can use voice commands all you want. They're not going to hear you. They're not going to listen to, move forward. They're not going to listen to that. So I think that in a competitive setting, or if Valve was here's matchmaking, you guys got to work together, to achieve your goal in this mode, basically. They kind of encourage that in regular TF2, but they don't really. It is very much more or less a free-for-all.
Yeah.
And I think that when people kind of get into that mindset, it will be a little bit more organized, and people will try a little bit harder, but you are going to get that one guy who's just accidentally clicked on it, or thought, I can get by without doing any communication. I can get by doing the exact same thing I've been doing in pubs.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, it's going to be bad for people. But if they have, I'm hoping that the what do you call it, the I don't play any other competitive games, so I don't know exactly what the term for it would be, but your ranking system?
Yeah, if you
I
have
hope
leagues,
that I hope that the ranking system is at least somewhat accurate, so that people who actually do well in their games can start playing with other people who do well in their games.
Yeah, like it has to be skill based, and I think they have to incorporate the amount of wins and losses and kind of like determine a league out of that. So at first it's like free for all, so everybody needs to get placed. Because you can be like a really good CS:GO player and transit to TF2, and you might not have as many hours as a new player, but you're better because you have like all the basics from Counter-Strike. So it's easier to adapt and stuff. So it will just be purely like win-lose based, I think. But like I think it should be like another feature that should be added that they could probably use the same algorithm for. It's like the way they when you do team scrambles, because you know sometimes you do a team scramble and it gets even worse. You know, like the teams get even worse skewed. At least that's my experience with some scrambles.
Yeah.
But I would like a shuffle where you have like the guy who has the most points on the one team and the guy with the second most points on the second team, and you just go shuffle all the way down, so you get like an amount of points. But points are derived differently. So if you're like a guy who has a friend who's hitting himself with the Boston Basher in spawn, and a heavy just keeps throwing a sandwich, you're gonna have a mighty amount of points, but you're not doing shit. So that also needs to get looked into. But yeah, competitive, I'm looking forward to it, but also not, because I feel like it's. I hope.
No,
like,
I know.
Like having very low expectations, I can be like impressed and surprised. Like, wow, they really helped that, and that was a random crit.
Good shot.
Right. So yeah, that was competitive. And
yeah.
Speaking of competitive, moving on to the next thing is dropped weapons and picking up those. I don't think we've actually. Well, I don't think I've talked about you to it. But why don't you give me your thoughts? So let's exclude the medigun for now and just every other thing except the medigun. What do you feel about the drop thing?
I don't think. I mean, I think I kind of touched on it in my original like overview of everything engineer video, but I don't think I've ever talked about it in a video or to anybody really, except for maybe my team or something. But like, I'd say that I like the weapon dropping system. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. That's for sure. I think that it's a good change that it like familiarizes the game to people who are new. I think that it's a good thing to add, because there are always new people to this game, and I think that it is pretty common in other games to be able to pick up weapons off the ground. And so adding that pretty familiar mechanic, it's good. It doesn't hurt the game. I feel like it doesn't really change much. I think that when I first heard about the mechanic, I was like, oh my god, there's gonna be so many like meta strategies where you like, for engineers specifically, like where you use the shotgun, and then when you're when the push is happening, you pick up your rescue ranger off the ground, and then you start using that, and then whenever the spy comes, you pick up the shotgun and then you shoot with that. Like, I've never done that in the 3 months that Gunmetal's been out, and I've never even been in the position to do that. I've never even thought to do that. Usually I'm just kind of like doing exactly what I was doing before, and I don't think anybody's ever really done that. I mean, there have been times where I'm like, oh cool, I'm a soldier and I'm rocket jumping around with the regular rocket launcher. Oh hey, there's a bazooka on the ground, I'm gonna pick up the biggest bazooka and use that for a while. Like, that's kind of cool. Like, it's neat, but I could have easily just gone back to spawn and done it. But
like the gunmetal pickup weapon is like one of the few things I've done a 180 on, because I remember because usually what I do with my episode, I tend not to or in my channel, my I tend not to give a first impressions too early, because I always want a lot of time, because sometimes you're like, oh, this sucks, and then you write a post like, this sucks, and then you realize later, hey, this was awesome, because you have a good experience, and then it changes the view. I had that with the gunmetal. I was like, I wrote like this blog post. It was like, it's still on the group. It's like, this fucking sucks, stupid, and Valve doesn't know what they're doing. I was really tired too, and I was super skeptical. I was like, this sucks, and fuck you, and I hate everything. I had an emo haircut, and everything was bad. But then I started playing with it, and I was like, well, it's here, I might as well use it. And I had a great experience as a soldier, and I've had other great experience before, because my favorite thing to do as a soldier is black box, base jumper, market garden. That's like the favorite thing to do, because I use the base jumper a lot. I love a lot of tricks that I don't think a lot of people use, because they say the base jumper is bad, but it's actually pretty good if you know how to float properly and use like people shooting at you to gain, and especially put a fire. Being on fire is like the best. So I had like this display where like I was playing. It was on bad water. The first point I was attacking, and then I jumped, of course, and there was a sentry, and I shot the black box, and I couldn't get it, and I market garden a soldier with the direct hit, and I picked up his direct hit, killed the sentry, picked up my black box, and then jumped back in and did that. And then I went off to the roof as they capped, and then I picked up a shotgun, and I swapped out my parachute for that, and then I picked up an original, and then I picked up a disciplinary action. So I like completely switched my loadout, and like it helped my team so much in that one instance.
Nice.
And it was just so great. And I've had a lot of other experiences like that too, especially with heavy, you know, because maybe I'm a heavy with a minigun, and then I kill a guy with a Tomislav, and then the other team thinks I'm going to be running minigun, but I pick up the Tomislav, and then I'm silent.
Yeah.
That's a very big change. So I think it works really great, but onto the thing that, like, everyone can agree, like, yeah, it could be pretty cool, it doesn't really matter that much, but then we go to the metagun and fucking people flip their shit. Here like, my sandwich is now the table, and people go like, flip. You see it? It's over there now? Yeah, they like flip it that far. Almost, like that, yeah. So what's your thoughts about that, picking up metiguns? Your own and the enemies?
Well, I think that it wouldn't be that bad if they... Oh, I mean, it wouldn't be that controversial, is what I meant to say, if they just would have made it so that when you drop your minigun, it goes back to 0. Which was originally, I guess, what people thought it did, and so they were like, oh, okay, and then they found out, oh, wait, when you pick up the minigun, it saves the Uber. That's kind of a big deal, because I don't know, if anybody plays competitive TF2, they'd know that a lot of the game in both Sixes and Highlander is based around advantages, and it's based around advantages for numbers, and it's based around advantages for the amount of Uber that you have in your gun. So basically, in order to offset those advantages to give your team an advantage, the team will try and kill the enemy medic as soon as possible so that they will have Uber and they will not have Uber. But with this new mechanic, basically what it means is dying with Uber or dying close to Uber is not as punished as it was before. Before, it was like, if you die as medic with Uber, if you drop your Uber, then you just screwed your entire team over, basically.
Yeah.
Now, it can go two ways. It can go, if you drop your Uber to a spy or a sniper, and the other team doesn't immediately come in and basically clean up with their Uber, then you are getting double screwed, because you not only dropped your Uber, you just gave them 2 Ubers, because they used theirs to clean up your team, and now they just picked up your minigun, and now they can clean up your team again when you come back. So there's that. But if your medic dies and the team does not immediately come in and clean up with their Uber, if they do not like act on it, then your medic can just kind of respawn, come back and pick it up, and then they have Uber again. It was just completely like your medic went AFK for like 10 seconds, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that it changes the medic meta completely, like 180s it in competitive.
Yeah.
In pubs, like I've played medic, drop my Uber, and then I come back and like I pick up another medigun, or I've done the thing where I Uber into stuff, kill the enemy medic, and then I pick up their quick fix or something, and they have like 95 on it, and I'm like, oh, cool, neat. But like, it's a pub, like, not really, doesn't really matter. Like, you know, there could be 2 medics. You know, I basically just became 2 medics. That's all it is. So in competitive, I think that it has a really big effect. And that's why it's currently banned in UGC, because it's too stressful, and it happened mid-season last season, so they're like, let's not deal with this right now. Let's not, like, upset some games, because some teams are more, you know, okay with it than others. I understand that, but I think Valve, you know, they're... I mean, it's kind of up in the air, because Valve, they know what they're doing. At the same time, a lot of people can argue that they don't know what they're doing when it comes to the metagame. And I think that they made the conscious decision to have Metiguns save their Uber because they patched it back in. Like, that's pretty obvious. Like, that's basically them saying, yes, we want this in the game. We accidentally left it out of the game, and now we got to put it back in because we accidentally patched it out. And so I think that they know what they're doing, and I think that maybe what happened was they took a look at competitive TF2 as it exists right now, and they said, well, we like what's going on here, but the whole medic thing, like, no one likes playing it, because when you die with Uber, you get severely punished for it, and nobody likes playing medic and dropping, and their team hates them because they just lost them the game because they dropped Uber. But I think what they were like, what they said to themselves was, well, how can we make that not as punishable? Well, how about this? When you drop your Uber, it'll stay on the ground, and you have a chance to go and pick it back up and start from where you left off and keep going. And so I think that that's good. I think that that's... I think it's a cool mechanic because I think that... Yeah, I've played medic in lobbies and I've played medic in competitive TF2 a little bit. It does suck to die as medic. It does, and it really turns you off from the class because it is huge to die as medic. You're the only person who can heal your team. And, so when you die and lose that advantage, you feel really bad, and your team can't really do anything about it most of the time. But with this new mechanic, your team can do something about it. They can protect that medigun. They can say, that is now our medic. We need to protect that medigun on the ground so that their team doesn't, one, have an advantage against us, and two, we can pick up where we left off. And I think that that's interesting. I think that that's cool. I think that it's fresh. It's new. I think that people are very xenophobic when it comes to stuff that they're used to. And I think that this is... I think that the general overreaction from the competitive TF2 are like, we need to ban this, blah blah blah. We need to make it illegal.
That's like the standard for everything. I remember coming into competitive in 2011. That's when I got involved, and I was in Korea at the time because I was an exchange student. And at first I started playing Highlander, and I was like, hey, it's pretty cool. And I played medic in sixes, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And I was like, man. I was like, okay, so we got the gunslinger now. All right, cool. So now engineer got a weapon that is specifically made for sixes to make him more offensive and be good. So he's not crap. And then I equipped it, and everyone got fucking mad because they're like, oh my god, fucking mini is bullshit. And I'm like, my team does not have a scout. They have me and teleporters. Like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. Like, you kill it. 2 rockets. He's like, yeah. But yeah, I totally agree with you on the banning thing, because to me, the gunslinger was designed to combat the fact that engineer was kind of too stationary and he could be offensive and move around. And they nope, you made that, but we don't want it. We want to scout, soldier, demo, medic. That is the only meta except a sniper and a heavy and a pyro and an engineer sometimes, and sometimes spy. So definitely with this, what they've done, like you said, basically removing the punishing meta for the medic. It's not as harsh anymore because have you looked at the class that is the least filled up in lobbies? Do you know which class that is? The class that's always missing?
I want to say it's medic and heavy, yeah.
Yeah. I think in sixes, the least class to get filled up is medic.
Oh, I don't really do a lot of sixes.
Oh yeah, I've just seen screenshots, and I've seen the lobbies where it's every other class is full, both teams are missing a medic. And why aren't they playing medic? Because soldiers in sixes are fucking good at killing medics, and then you lose the Uber, and the people are like, fuck you, you bitch, me, and they get mad. So basically, the meta has changed. It's one of those classes
that are just so unthanked. It's because you win because of a good medic, but then if you have a bad medic, then you rage at them, and then they're like, oh, I'm not playing this class again. I'm gonna play scout.
Yeah, it's a lot of Dunning-Kruger walking around, where they are. Maybe they're bad, but they don't see it. They're incompetent at realizing they're incompetent. And that's the thing about if you only play team games. Let's say you play StarCraft 1v1. If you lose, it's because the other guy's better than you or you fucked up. Here, in team games, it's much easier to, blame people. It's oh, you didn't do the thing. You dropped the Uber because the pocket was, under the bridge or whatever.
You fed, you noob.
So basically now, if you drop a medic, it's not afforded like a minute advantage, give or take, depending on the respawn. It's now just a respawn, and you have to occupy the space of which the medic died. It has what it's turned into, or because it could go both ways. Either you gain an advantage, let's say you kill the medic. Let's say you use regular Uber, and they were running crits, and they had 98%. And then you can continue to have the advantage. And I remember one thing. I'm not sure if you know who Pledge was, but Pledge was one of the biggest sixes casters in Europe for a while, and he was always talking about people want to do the things that wins games, right? And having 2 Ubers in a row definitely helps you win games. Yeah. And being able to pick up your medigun definitely also helps you to win back the game. So killing medics is still important, but I don't think it's the important class anymore. I think now if the other team has maybe a good demo or maybe a really good soldier, maybe killing him is more important than killing the medic. Because we see that in Highlander. Killing the medic, if the rest of the team's good, doesn't really make a lot of difference if they're if they can do well without heals. So if let's say you have 2 sniper sight and one sniper picks off the demo and the other sniper picks up the medic, one team's gonna have less firepower than the other. And we've seen tons of games where picking the medic actually didn't make a difference. So I like it. I think we agree on that part. It's definitely more interesting and it's a bit more viable. And also you're a bit vulnerable when you're about to pick it up. So a spy, if you think Highlander, can potentially camp the medigun and then stab the medic again. Potentially. So there's a lot of meta there, like stickies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we agree there. So let's move on to the next topic, unless you have anything else you wanted to add.
No, I just think I think that generally new things are good, and I think that it just takes a while before people get used to it.
Yeah.
I mean, people were like really opposed to a lot of the new stuff that got added
I was
over the years.
but I did a 180, because I had a good experience with it. So it definitely adds a bit more to the medic. The medic meta is not so stale because you can like pick up the other medigun and and gain an advantage, and you can fuck up the timing of the other medics, and you can like have two mediguns if you switch back and forth. If you're really good, you can do that.
I'm just worried that it'll be like it's just kind of one of those things. I hope that the community that is against it isn't as it's hard to be as vocal as the people who hate things, because I mean, you like something, then you're just gonna be like, I like it, it's pretty good, and then you're not gonna say anything else. But the people who hate things, they're a lot more vocal, they're a lot more wah, ma'am, so I think that I'm worried because the Valve generally, we don't realize it, but they do listen to us. They just don't give any reciprocation that they did listen to us.
In the gunmetal update, like 45% was like taken out of my spreadsheet. Yeah,
I
mean they listen. They listen.
There's no way. There's no way
no
that
way.
they did.
Coincidence.
But,
yes.
Yeah. But I think that I'm worried that the people who do like this don't say much. So if you do like it, make sure you make it known. Make sure you do defend it in some way. Because remember, they finally got around to nerfing the sticky bomb launcher.
Yeah.
And then everyone was so upset about it, and everyone was so vocally upset about it, and I was like okay with it, and I didn't say much because I was okay with it, and then they changed it back because the community was so vocal about it.
Yeah, that too, and also it wasn't a very good nerf. Like I agreed with the nerf, but I didn't like if you're a demo main, like the feel of the game, like like you have a bit of a when you're a game designer, you have to design it so people know what's going on. So it was really hard to know when you were doing a lot of damage and not a lot of damage, depending on when you shot it, because like they changed the offset and stuff. So that's why they reverted it back. And I think that's also like when you design a game, you design obstacles and you design like ways for players to have different experiences, and it's just up to the players how do they experience that. Often when people go like, oh, Highlander is so stalematey, and you look at the game, it's like, yeah, because no one's attacking. And they're attacking because they don't have an advantage. And you don't get an advantage unless you don't attack. So it's like very passive thing. And that's just a mindset that has to change. We see that in other games. Like there's very different, like you just see if you look at Europe versus NA. Like NA Highlander is so much more aggressive than European Highlander. Because they let you take a lot of more risks and stuff. Because
well, they have more weapons. I noticed that they don't ban as hard as UGC does, and I think that that's generally a good thing. And I'm saying that as an engineer main, and the Beggar's Bazooka and the Lock and Loader, like my two #1 enemies. I'd actually prefer it if they were allowed. I mean, they're fine to me.
Yeah, like you need to learn how to deal with it, because as an engineer, I think like everything should be allowed in the game that isn't like bugged or broken, like some weapons can be. But like if the enemy soldier is running fucking Beggar's Bazooka, you just short circuit, and it's like, well, fuck you, do something else. Don't bother me. You can definitely do that. I'm not sure is the short circuit allowed? I haven't paid attention. I don't think it is.
It's not in UGC.
Yeah, it's not in UGC.
I don't know about AF2.
Like imagine if they allowed it in 6s and you swapped a scout for a short circuit engineer that just like you switched your soldier pocket and you had 2 roaming soldiers. Basically, 3 of the classes you attack with can't do much until you run out. And you can't block that many projectiles either before you run out. So it's just you're basically stalling. But yeah, I think like the competitive community needs to be like more adaptive and like embrace changes, but they usually don't because they've always had the power to like ban stuff. Like I can't imagine playing a strategy game where the community's like, nope, let's ban that unit because we think it's OP. Like,
I think that the general like good thing about matchmaking from Valve is going to be that they're in control of everything that's allowed, and so what that's going to encourage is adaptability. That's just going to be like, okay, well that's the way it is. Here's how we're going to deal with it. Like with UGC and ETF2L, what they do is, this is broken, this is like annoying to play against. Let's just get rid of it. Let's not play around it. Let's get rid of it completely. I mean, there are exceptions that are like just unbalanced. Like for example, the Vitasaw and what is it? The Bizarre Bargain or something. Like, I don't know.
Bizarre Bargain is actually fine now. You need to kill 2 people with a headshot, and then it's the same, and then you just add stuff
really?
from there.
Oh,
but
okay.
actually,
okay.
like
there was a glitch with it, wasn't
yeah,
there?
it was a glitch with it, but they fixed that. They changed that. They reworked it completely.
Oh, okay,
right now,
cool.
the Bizarre Bargain is like it's extremely slow unless you kill 2 people with headshots. But also, like, you know, I'm not sure if you play much sniper, but there's a timer before when you do just body shot after you'd scoped, and then there's a time where you do 150 headshot. And then it starts to charge, and that timer is the same on the Bizarre Bargain. So it's like, even it says it charges faster, it doesn't charge faster than it would have done normally. You just do more damage faster, and it's like not that big a deal. Maybe against normal people, but like maybe against the sentry, if I get 3 kills, then maybe it's better than the regular sniper. But it's not a big deal, because how many kills does the sniper get before he gets killed? It's like 1, 2, and then he gets bombed or stabbed or shot or something. So it's balanced now.
Okay, that's good. I didn't know that. But
you know,
like I was saying,
Wikipedia over here. Boosh.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, a good thing about Valve introducing their matchmaking with everything allowed, which I think is what they should do, is it'll give them an idea of what weapons are overpowered and what weapons are not, and what weapons are being used the most and what weapons are not being used at all, and then they can balance their game around that, because that's being used by the majority of the good players in the game. And I think that that's good. I think that they do need to balance a lot more of the weapons, especially to cater to a no crit environment, because there are a lot of weapons where the downside is literally no random crits, and it's a kind of a running joke that the way to balance a weapon is say no random crits. But I mean, really, in matchmaking, that's not going to matter. In matchmaking, the ones that have one of the downsides as no random crits is going to have an inherent advantage, because one of the downsides is always going to be a downside for everything.
It's like what they say about Super Smash Brothers, is that every character is good if items are turned on. It's kind of like in TF2, like everything is fair if everyone has random crits. So
I guess so.
I would like to see more triangle balancing, you know, like
rock, paper, scissors.
Classes, like rock, paper, scissors. Like, let's say you have like the Razorback and you have the Ambassador and you have like all those kind of changes. But like, I would like to see. I think that we can segue over to the next topic, which is future weapons. Because I remember you had a video about some new things, which I didn't agree with a lot, except one thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You're stupid. No, I'm just kidding. Like, a lot of them had good merit, but I felt like the stats were kind of... I don't remember exactly what your ideas were, but I really like the one with the heavy, the ammo throw.
The ammo throw? Yeah.
I like that.
That's actually one of my favorite ones that I came up with for that video.
Yeah. It was basically...
because I felt like it was balanced the most, but that's mainly because it has, like, really simple stats.
Yeah. And it also incorporates the old way of Team Fortress Classic, where you can just throw the ammo that your class doesn't use. Like, because every class picked up the ammo. But remember, the other thing you talked about was basically you turned into a 175 HP pyro without a flamethrower. That wasn't flame retardant. It was pretty much like the thing.
With a shotgun.
Yeah, with a shotgun.
Who can build dispensers.
Yeah, who can build dispenser, So it's kind of like...
has no minis. Yeah.
It's like I made a video about like what makes a good unlock, and it's about having that class integrity, because as an engineer, you always wanted to have buildings and tend to your buildings of some sort. So it would just be to incorporate that, having different buildings that maybe do different stuff, but in the same sense. Like an idea I had, which I really think would work, is that, you know, you have teleporters. Like, how do you replace teleporters? Well, it's really hard, because teleporters are logistics. It's about moving your team forward. Now, what else
a big part of it,
move team forward? Well, catapult would move people forward. So I was like, okay, so the teleporter entrance is a catapult that launches you forward, and the exit is a catapult that launches you straight up. So, but then it's like, how the fuck do you deal with where you want to land? Are you going to make people able to airstrife? And I was like, yeah. But then you add a pillow that gets launched first, so you see where you land, so you take no fall damage when you land on the pillow. So you know where you're going to land. Because every class is going to be the same weight. And then suddenly, when you're on bad water last, you can use your teleporters, because the one that goes straight up can launch you from the down like the low level to up there, and you can also, when you're on attack, you can launch a heavy, like you can uber flash a heavy and launch them in. That would be really cool, because it's still like the same concept about moving people forward, and you don't have the teleporter, so it's not as reliable. And it can also go really wrong, like if you launch a heavy into a sentry and he just keeps flying. You know, it could work both ways, and also you kind of good snipers know how to pick off things in the air and stuff like that. So I think that's like one thing that could work. You have to test it first, of course. Everything looks good on paper, and then you try it, and it like fucking sucks. But yeah, you had some other ideas too.
The one,
exactly.
I mean, the one that I was least enthusiastic about because I knew that it was probably going to be the most like disagreed upon is probably the EMP stats. But I do think that an EMP is a good concept for a weapon.
Well,
the stats itself is the thing that I had the most trouble coming up with, is because it's hard to really take, because I mean obviously it's like, okay, so what should it do? I think that it would be cool if you can destroy sappers from a distance, because you can already heal your building from a distance, and if you give up the Wrangler to be able to remove sappers from a distance, that's pretty, I mean, I think that's pretty good, because already you can't really defend yourself from spies with the Rescue Ranger as it is, so it kind of like is a fair trade-off in that sense.
It's
but
one of the
revealing the cloak is the thing that I'm not really sure about.
Like, basically, like, it has to deal with what I said, like, class integrity, and you're giving away your ability to do damage, to just enhance your sentry. It's like a different version of the Wrangler, which is just an extension. I think it could work like a removal sapper from a distance. Could work, because then you could, like, repair it from a distance and remove zappers from a distance, but you can't refill the ammo, so eventually now and then you have to just do that.
Yeah.
And also, when speaking of the Wrangler, like, people still haven't gotten used to, if you just shoot at the gun, it will go down, because you can't bullet sponge anymore. And that's something I really like, but I think like a lot of players that's used to the old Wrangler kind of just stuck with the old mindset that it's still like an unbeatable bullet sponge that you can't ever beat.
Yeah.
So
now, ever since the Wrangler changed, what I've been doing is I've been a lot more offensive with it, because if the enemy can see my gun, chances are my gun can see them with the Wrangler. So what I'll do is, in order to bullet sponge, I'll take up the Wrangler and use the shield, but I'll also be pestering them back. Before it was just a matter of like, oh, I just gotta out heal their damage until they go away. Now it's like, okay, I gotta out damage the amount of damage they're doing to me back to them, while kind of at the same time bullet sponging. I think it's a lot more interactive. I actually am fine with it. I think that it should probably be taken up a little bit in healing percentage that it takes, because I think the nerf kind of was a little bit too harsh. I think maybe it should go back up to like maybe like 50% or something. 66% just seems like a lot to me. I don't know why.
I think it's absolutely fine right now, because now you got to utilize something that wasn't really utilized, and that's picking up your gun right before it gets destroyed. Because that's something you do. I find myself doing that a lot more now that the Wrangler has changed. Like I tried to bullet sponge, and right before the last rocket hits, like you can pick it up, but the timing is still the same. Like people will still not attack, so you actually have time to put down the gun, repair it, and put it back up again. But I will say you should be able to repair the gun as it's building. Like now you can, you waste metal while it's building, and it sucks.
That I hope is a bug, and I hope that they change it, because that is a big thing, because sometimes actually it does work with the Rescue Ranger. I don't know, I still, maybe you can probably test this out, but like I've noticed that sometimes when you replace the gun and it's building back up, you can actually heal it with the Rescue Ranger while it's building. I'm not really sure what has to happen for that to work, but sometimes it does happen, sometimes it doesn't happen. I don't really know why.
That's a mystery of TF2. Only works if you're in Death Bowl and the red team, because they're the best team, obviously.
That's the way it's coded, I guess.
Yeah. So it would always be interesting to see, like, the hardest classes to make stuff for is obviously, like, Engineer, because he has a very good setup of, like, Sentry, Dispenser, Teleporter. It's very hard to deal with. Also Heavy with the miniguns is, like, a very limited thing you can do. Like, I don't really like what they did with the Demo Man, that, like, they removed his bombs. That's kind of, like, super dumb, if you ask me. He's like, this guy's all about trajectories and bombs and timings. Let's remove all of that and give him a sword and some shoes and a shield. So
it's super weird.
But they've redeemed themselves with Quickie Bomb Launcher and like Loose Cannon and all those interesting weapons. So do you have
Loose Cannon is BS, by the way.
it's trading
so
lethalness for utility. Like you're not killing them, you're just pushing them back. So like
oh man, like I don't know if you've played against a Demo Man who knows how to double donk, but it's so frustrating because they can do like 140 damage just at will. Like they're like, oh, there you are. I know exactly how far you are. I know exactly how long to time my bomb. Here's 140 damage. oh, cool, our med's dead now. Like, it just
Because he was using the
it's so
Vitasaw.
annoying. Yeah, well, I mean, what medic isn't already like half health?
Oh yeah, yeah. I like the Vitasaw. Like if when I analyze it, it's like, all right, your strategy is to die. That's your strategy. Like no, I was like,
Well, that's the sad thing about TF2. Oh, I mean, competitive TF2 is that your medic's going to die, so there's no reason not to use it. You know,
yeah.
it sucks.
I would like I have a like an attempted fix for my spreadsheet, which I'm not sure because I've been going back and forth with it. Because usually what you do when you like first you brainstorm and then you write it down, you wait like a week and then you go back to it and see if the idea is still good. And the current idea that I have now is that you have like reduced for the Vitasaw, you have like reduced health and you have reduced total Uber time, like maybe not 8 seconds, but maybe like 6 or 7. But upon death, you pop the Uber. If you run regular Uber, and you it lasts for like 2 seconds, so you don't you use the Uber, but you don't drop it, but it only lasts 2 seconds or something like that. But still, it's like a passive on death thing, and I don't think like Medic's already pretty passive, so it doesn't need to be more passive. I would like to see like maybe if you hit people with it, you heal them like the crossbow, or something like that.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
Or if you hit like enemies, you give them anthrax, like the Medic did in the original Team Fortress Classic. Did you know that function?
No.
Medic was like one of the best classes because you can like they had the concussion grenades, which used to jump, which is now the quick fix. And if you healed the enemy team, they got like anthrax, or yeah, I think it was anthrax. And then if they touched someone else, it was contagious. And it was only another medic that could cure it until they died, and it lasted until they ticked until they died. So what happened was, if the other team didn't have a medic and we played 2 for it, and you went out and you like did that to a sniper, he would run back into the spawn, infect everyone. And,
oh god!
And they didn't have respawn lockers. All they had were health packs, and they only delayed the issue. So we'd get so many kills doing that. But I think that could be something that works. Like if you hit someone once, you get like anthrax that like always sticks down unless you get to a healing source.
Yeah.
It would definitely give like I think a bone saw should have that. You know, medic should just have that.
Yeah, yeah.
But
that'd be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So
but that would be pretty easy.
Do you have anything else that you wanted to see, like that you feel that is missing for some classes?
Well, I only really think about engineer, so.
Okay.
But I do think that the engineer needs a new secondary. I mean, I proposed the EMP thing, but that's definitely more of a tool than anything. I think that it definitely needs a different type of pistol because, I mean, you look at the ones that we have now, it's like we have 2 extremely defensive weapons and then the pistol, you know, when it comes to secondaries for engineer. So I think that maybe a different pistol that has a different function. I don't really know exactly what.
Maybe like a blowtorch,
saying,
you know? So it's like So it's like ammo spending repair tool, so you don't use metal for it, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Something like, and then it lights spies on fire and stuff like that.
Well,
it would make sense for an engineer to have a blowtorch.
Yeah, because then he could light spies on fire, and then he could, you know, use it to repair stuff as well as damage people. I think that's a pretty good idea. It is very close range though, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But
one thing I also like to see for like the pyro is like some sort. Well, first of all, I think the pyro needs to be buffed because he's like, whenever I see a pyro, I'm like, oh, good ammo, great. Pyros are never scary, no, regardless of how good they are.
I think we are at very opposite ends of the table on that.
Okay. No, basically, like the only change I want for the pyro is that like burning players that's already burning should do more damage. Like if you've been, like, let's say like your pyro, it's not you're weak against heavies, right? And like sometimes you play pyro and you burn people for an extended amount of time, and they just don't die because I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about. I always died of pyros who were just like aiming my general direction.
Oh yeah, no, that's not the experience I have with pyros, because pyro's like not offensive. He's like support. So like, the only change I wanted is that like the more you burn people, regardless of their health, they should die. Because if you're a pyro and you burn them for X amount of time, they should die. But sometimes, let's say you're burning a heavy that's fully overhealed, that's being healed by 2 medics, and he puts up the Fist of Steel, and you can't get to the medics because he's blocking you. You should only burn for X amount of seconds before you like.
That's a 3v1 situation.
Yeah, but pyros.
You should lose.
No, yeah, but the pyro is a close range class, and he's not the best at close range. He should be the best at close range because his flamethrower has, like, yet pyro's best weapon is a shotgun, and that's his secondary. It makes no sense. Pyro, who's all about fire, uses a shotgun to get kills. It's like, what?
What kind of pyro are you playing? Because I always see people.
Pyro's my worst class. So that's what I'm
Pyro's
saying.
my least played class. I'd say that it's probably my worst because of it. But it's like I only see, Pyros juggling people up in the air and shooting with flares. Like I don't see people using the shotgun unless they're playing against
no, I mean like
Pyros.
in competitive. I don't know, there's like a pyro named Steve who's like really good, and he's like, oh yeah, you gotta use the shotgun or else you're just gonna get destroyed from everything.
Yeah,
especially heavies and stuff like that.
I know that there are some people that prefer the shotgun, but I know that there are. If you get good with flares, then it's so annoying to play against. It's like if you get within fire distance of the pyro, which is pretty hard to really guess because the flame mechanic in this game is so unpredictable and so random that I can be like, oh, there's no way he's going to be able to get close to me to put me on fire. I'm like 50 feet away. Oh no, I'm on fire for some reason. I don't know why. It's pyromanes are interesting because they study the random weirdness of the flames and then they use it to their advantage, and then they use the fact that a lot of people actually don't know how flames work to their advantage, and so they like throw the flames at people and then they flare them, and it's super crazy how like you can just take 100 damage from that. Like okay, I am 100 damage less because I was within like 50 feet of a pyro. That's I feel like it's really overpowered, but I think that I just have maybe just an unlucky or negative experience with most pyros that I find. I also feel like the class in general, like you can do well at pyro, at least in a pub setting.
I'm always talking pub when I'm talking about this stuff. Because, like, basically, if I'm a sniper and a pyro runs up to me and he lights me on fire, I can headshot him and kill him before he kills me with the flamethrower, and that means something is wrong. When I can just do that.
How?
Well, I headshot him, and then I either pull up my SMG or melee him. Or you can either use the Jurati to like get away. If you don't use the bush
you'd have to be pretty confident in your
absolutely
ability to be able to. I mean, like when you're on fire, first of all, you can't really shoot very well. I mean, given he is very close, so maybe a headshot is a little easier at closer distance. But it is surprising to me that like that's your answer to every pyro is headshot them and then shoot them with an SMG because I mean that is not exactly the best. I mean, that's not a guaranteed solution to a pyro.
They're damaged as well, but it's like because
I'm just saying.
I've had some weird experiences where you are like, oh, random crit, that was not fair, and I've had some points where like a pyro has snuck up on me from behind and tried to burn me, and flamethrower fucked up or something like that. But I do agree, like the flamethrower needs to be more reliable because it's related to ping. So if you like play against another pyro and you have a different ping, he can hit you, but you don't hit him, and you're just as far away, and it's just really weird. But I would I want pyro to be so good that if one pyro meets an overhealed heavy that is not spun up, and the pyro just, if they like start shooting at each other at the exact same time, pyro should win with like 1 health or something like that, because I think like pyro is like instant damage in close quarters.
I mean, I think that I don't know a lot of pub pyros. Well, I think that you should probably talk to Johnny. He actually, or at least watch the video that he made, where he actually did exactly that situation, where he, in a competitive setting no less, met an overhealed heavy that was not looking at him, not spun up, and he set him on fire, air blasted him up in the air, flare shot him, and I forget what he did after that, but basically he got him down to 0 health before the heavy could do enough damage to kill him. And he said that you can do that consistently if you realize the situation you're in time and get to them before they realize that they're in the situation where they need to be shooting you already. So I think that, I don't know, if you're going to be doing something about that, you should definitely talk to more competitive pyros because they have mastered,
and they always give extremely different answers.
Well, it is a very versatile class. I mean, I'd say that it's probably has the most room for versatility of
like the
class.
pyro has a lot of great tools, but the pyro should be more pyro. It suffers from like the demo man getting demo night stuff. It's like the main thing with pyro should be just be WM1. And WM1 should be good, but like the main problem is that he's not the quickest to kill people at close range, and he should be because his flamethrower is limited. And I think like a minor buff is all that I'm asking. I'm not asking for like something groundbreaking. Reverse air blast would. You might have
something. You might have something with the doing more damage to burning players with your flamethrower.
Yeah.
My main problem with Pyro that I always run into is that it has too much health, because whenever I meet a Pyro in a public setting or any setting really, I can't win a 1v1. There's no way. Like, unless I hit like,
I always win the 1v1.
Unless I hit 2 like 90 damage meat shots, which is hard to do whenever you're being like pestered and thrown up in the air. It's almost impossible to win a 1v1 versus a Pyro as any class, besides like maybe a heavy or like, you know, a class that is, you know, aware of his existence at that point.
Oh, but I've seen like if you're a Pyro and you play against a demo that's being healed with sticks, you can't win. Like, it's impossible. He just puts a stick where you're standing. You go up to him, he will jump away and hurt you again before you get to retreat.
Oh yeah,
and,
I mean that's a 2v1.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, like, if you're caught out, if you're just by yourself and a Pyro finds you, it's very unlikely that you're going to win unless he's already damaged and you are already aware that he's around and you have the jump on him. I feel like that is, I don't know if that's what Valve intended, and if they did, then fine, but it is very frustrating to play against, because I feel like when it comes down to 1v1s, it should be even unless that class directly counters yours, and I feel like Pyro directly counters every class that is not with another teammate.
I feel that's Scout.
Scout counters Pyro?
No, yeah, because like it's like how many meat shots?
Yeah.
Two or three?
Yeah. And I mean, like, they can also run out of the range of the flames pretty easily. I'd say that Pyro's biggest counter is probably a heavy who is spun up and Scout. Pretty much.
Yeah, I'd say Sentry too. Sentry's counter.
A Sentry, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
no,
not
but
really
I think
class.
like Pyro is fine as it is. It could be like a bit stronger, but I'm not sure how to do it. One thing that would be pretty cool is that if you explode like in a small fire, like you just light people on fire when you die, like everyone in a certain radius, because like your gasoline tank explodes. That could be pretty fun, because that gives like the Pyro an oh shit factor. Because I don't care if you kill them after you're dead. That doesn't matter. Like Pyro is like right now soldiers like the suicide class, but I think like Pyro could be that too. So let's say if you're a spy and you backstab the
suicide class. In certain hands, I mean, like, there are so many different ways to play Pyro, and that's probably why it's difficult to combat one. Because when you meet one, you're like, what kind of Pyro is this? The kind that's going to run at me and not care about his own life, or is the kind that's going to actually try and like be methodical about it and try and set me on fire from a distance without hurting myself? Is it going to be the guy that's like going to shotgun me? Is he going to like, you know, bait me into his team? I don't know. Like, it's such a toss up whenever you meet a Pyro. What kind of Pyro it's going to be? And so I don't know, it's frustrating to play against, pretty easy to pick up as a class at the beginning, and pretty hard to master at the back end of it. So it's like a crazy class that I'm not really sure what they should do about it, but they should do something. And I think that, you know, buffing it is part of it, but also nerfing part of it is also
like the Pyro should still be weak against what he's weak against. Like a spun up heavy should win against the Pyro in 1v1, but not if he's not spun up, and like a Pyro shouldn't be able to like tank a Sentry or rock jump as high as a soldier. But so I think so we have a few more things that I wanted to talk about that I didn't mention to you, but we have an invasion update coming up. It's going to be aliens.
Spooky.
So how many frames per second do you think we're going to lose in that update?
At least all of them. But I trust the map makers to be able to make us something that doesn't give us terrible frames per second. At least I hope. I mean, it's good that these maps have already kind of been on the workshop and already been tested out to the point where people play them and they don't have any like direct problems with them, as far as I know. But
I haven't played them, though.
Pretty.
Have you tried them?
Oh, I haven't either. No, I'm actually kind of waiting. I don't want to spoil it, because it has already been leaked what maps are going to be used, and I don't really want to spoil it. There's probably only one map that no one's played yet, and that's the, spoiler alert, the 2 Fort event. So that's going to be interesting.
What? Okay. So we can also talk about, I'm not sure about you, but I could not care any less about fucking Halloween. What? It's not a thing here. It's like, oh, it's scary and there's candy and ooh, and
it is very much a child holiday. So.
Yeah, I know it's a child holiday, but why do they choose the worst map? Like the last Halloween, actually didn't want to make me want to play.
They always do.
I think like the best one they had was the one with, I think the first one with Mountain Lab, where they had like the mansion there, except for the gift.
Mountain Lab one was alright.
Yeah, it was okay. It was like, oh, it's a funny boss, haha. And then they have like the Monoculus, which like, okay, that's a bit
and
crazy.
I kind of liked the Lakeside one a little bit, but
yeah,
it was
like
okay.
the Lakeside map was actually not bad, but it's like
It's not terrible.
And then they go and they choose fucking Hightower. And they're like, well, we're going to take the most stalemated map that people just play Sniper and Market Garden Soldier on, and we're going to have super laggy-ass skeleton running around, and it's going to be awful because we're going to have spells and no one is going to know what the fuck's going on. And then next year, we'll top that by adding a ton of bugs with a ton of features like bumper cars that no one fucking asked for. And I did not play
Doomsday, which everyone loves.
Oh, that map is like the worst, and they made it even worser, if that's a word. And I did not play the last Halloween update. I was like, nope, I'm staying out of Team Fortress 2 until this shit's over. And I looked at the Reddit and the forums, and there was bugs and shits and crashes, and like the best way to win the bumper car game was to not move.
Oh man,
flipping the table again.
I mean, it's pretty. I mean, yeah, it is pretty obvious that when they make Halloween updates, they don't try and make them competitive or in any way like super fun for anybody who is familiar with the game. It's very much a way to get people to boot up Team Fortress 2 when they don't play it that much, because it is kind of like a bait into like, oh hey, you get some free items in TF2 because it's Halloween. Here, come play a couple like fun mini games within the game. But other than that, for people who are like TF2 addicts like us, or people who play it every day, it's like, this is what it is, really? Like, okay. All right, well, I mean, I will admit, I played the bumper car thing for like an hour, and then I was like, all right, back to pubs, because I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah, no. I thought it was a very much waste of resources from their part. Like, they also hired, like, they spent a ton of money on hiring voice actors for these lines that no one fucking uses. And then all that talent that went into making the hats you can't use when it's not Halloween. It's just, I face palmed through my face.
Yeah, but there are definitely a list of decisions that Valve makes that are questionable from both a business and fun standpoint. But it's
like, are you familiar with the term Eureka affected?
No.
Oh, that's a term I made up, so that's probably why I haven't heard it. So basically, like, it doesn't apply anymore, but it applied it to the old Eureka effect. That's when you take something that works fine and then you make it awful and bad. That's when Eureka
and then you change it back
something.
to something that's okay.
Yeah, later you do that. That's
later.
You get Eureka
like
affected.
2 years later.
Yeah, 2 years later. Good. All right. Well, I think that's all I had to hear here. Unless there's something else you wanted to add or something.
Oh man, I think that we covered a lot of good stuff today. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. There we go. Also, I'm not sure if you noticed, but I'm rocking the rotation. You can see.
Oh yeah.
So I decided
I wore that on my. I wore that on my engineer. It makes my engineer look like he's like an old man trying to fit in with the kids. It's really
that's
funny.
exactly the look I'm going for, actually. Because I used to wear like the Capos Capri, which is actually like a fedora that I wear in real life that I had in Korea in 2011, before neckbeards were a thing. And now that culture's just ruined. So I'm going to have to burn that hat and pretty much start over. But I'm going to be hip because, you know, I grew up in the 90s, and doesn't this look 90s?
Mom, give me my Sunny D.
What?
You gotta say, Mom, give me my Sunny D.
Oh, Sunny D, that's a thing you had. We had...
Well, what did you have, like, vodka? What do they have over there in the Middle East or wherever you live?
Oh, I live in the Middle East, right, in Norway. You're right, Middle East. Good. What we had, I don't remember what we had. We had...
Not Sunny D.
We had Capri Sun, but it was, like, French, so it's Capri Sonne or something.
Capri Sonne?
Yeah, Capri Sonne, and people are like, what the fuck's that? It's like Capri Sun.
Instead of turning into liquid and flying to the sky, they turn into baguettes.
We had purple stuff. I don't know, we had like Sprite, I think, and Fanta.
Yeah.
That's what we had.
Oh, okay, Fanta's pretty good. Want the Fanta? Don't you want the Fanta?
I think it's a good place to end.
Yep.
Do you have any shout-outs or plugs?
Just go watch Tip of the Hats if you haven't already, if it's still a weekend for you, if you're watching this VOD. They're raising money for kids, so go and watch them. I know I will.
Do it! Do it!